I cannot tell you what a great pleasure it is for my wife and I to be back in Kenya once again. I am enormously grateful to you, Mr. President, Madam First Lady, for your most generous invitation to make this state visit. The tremendous hospitality you have shown us and the wonderfully warm welcome that you and the people of Kenya have extended to us have touched me deeply. If I may say so, it is particularly special to be able to return to this extraordinary country in the 60th year of your independence. Today, Mr. President, you and I stood by the mighty Mugumo tree, which marks the spot where almost 60 years ago the Kenyan flag was first raised. It seemed to me that the tree is thriving, strong and deeply rooted, just as this great republic and her people continue to thrive. It means a great deal to my wife and myself that in our coronation year, our first state visit to a Commonwealth country should bring us here to Kenya. We both take considerable pride in renewing the ties between the United Kingdom and Kenya, a country that has long held such special meaning for my family. Najisikia kama niko nyumbani. That my dear mother, the late Queen, had a particular affection for Kenya and the Kenyan people. She arrived here in 1952 a princess, but left as Queen. It is extremely moving to read her diary from that visit, in which she wrote that she did not want to miss a moment of Kenya's extraordinary landscapes. I really cannot thank you enough for the support Kenya gave her through that difficult time. 10 years later, my father, the late Duke of Edinburgh, attended the celebrations of Kenya's independence. To mark the occasion, Her late Majesty wrote to President Jomo Kenyatta to convey her sincere hope that with God's guidance, Kenya would prosper and that her people would have peace and contentment in full measure. Nearly 50 years later, it was here, in sight of Mount Kenya, that my son, the Prince of Wales, proposed to his wife, now my beloved daughter-in-law. For my part, I recall, as if it were yesterday, my first visit to Kenya in 1971 with my sister, the Princess Royal. I was, it is fair to say, somewhat younger then, and I can well remember the meeting I had with President Jomo Kenyatta, a towering statesman who inspired such great admiration, affection, and respect. On subsequent visits here, I was most fortunate to be able to spend some time with Kenyan conservationists, from whose profound knowledge of their environment I learned so much. Among them was the late great environmentalist and Nobel Prize winner, Wangari Maathai, someone whom I greatly admired and loved. And I'm very much looking forward to spending a little time with her daughter this week and to planting a tree in her mother's memory. Indeed, having been planting trees for most of my life, I thought I was doing rather well, but your ambition to plant 15 billion trees makes me look rather more critically at my own efforts. Mr. President, in returning to Kenya, I have been struck by the many ways in which our country's relationship is now closer than ever. It is a modern partnership of equals facing today's challenges, and looking to the many opportunities that together we can seize, whether by using the King's Cross regeneration as a model for the Nairobi Railway City, or by learning from Kenya how the blue economy can really work for local communities. All of you here this evening and across our countries deserve our gratitude for your ceaseless work to realize our joint ambitions. Our people's security is a paramount concern. It is fitting, then, that Kenya's first Marine Commando Unit was established earlier this year, trained by British Royal Marines. I also look forward to visiting Karioko War Graves Cemetery, where I will honor Kenyans and other Africans who died in 2 world wars. We must ensure all are granted the remembrance befitting their service. Kenya's efforts to address the existential challenges of climate change and biodiversity loss are remarkable. From generating over 90% of your electricity from renewable sources, to ambitious reforestation and restoration programs, to hosting the first Africa Climate Summit here in Nairobi last month, Kenya is offering extraordinary leadership. The Nairobi Declaration brings together different peoples whose cooperation will be essential to solve some of the serious environmental and ecological challenges not only facing us in the future, but facing us here and now. Those next generations are themselves taking remarkable strides to secure their own future. I've long believed in the extraordinary potential of our young people and left my meeting with young Kenyan entrepreneurs today inspired by their accomplishments. It gives me great pride, therefore, that the Prince's Trust, which I established very nearly 50 years ago to support young people, is now operating in Kenya, and that in 2021, Ekalali Susan from Turkana County became the first Kenyan winner of the Trust's Global Award for her entrepreneurial efforts to help lift her family out of poverty. Mr. President, ladies and gentlemen, my mother, Her late Majesty, cared deeply that Kenya chose to be a member of the Commonwealth and was always grateful that Kenya has played an essential role in this family of nations to which she devoted so much of her life. On this, my first state visit to a Commonwealth country, I wish to reaffirm my own pledge to support the Commonwealth's bold vision for action and the values upon which it rests. That 1/3 of the world's population, united by peace, justice, tolerance, and mutual respect, should commit to protecting our environment and the most vulnerable in our societies. To this endeavor, Kenya makes a profound difference. It is here in Nairobi, for instance, that Kenya hosts the only United Nations headquarters in the Commonwealth, indeed in Africa and the Southern Hemisphere. In this, as in so much else, Kenya is helping to shape our world and forge our future. The extraordinary ingenuity of the Kenyan people fuels these endeavors. Your environmentalists and your entrepreneurs, your religious leaders, artists, scholars, soldiers and athletes, your elders and your youth. And so, Mr. President, if I may, I would like to propose a toast to you and to the people of Kenya. It is upon the enduring connection between our people that our partnership rests. It is on their enterprise, imagination, and fortitude that our common hopes depend. Together we are stronger, together our future is more secure, and together, as your national anthem says, may we dwell in unity, peace, and liberty. Umoja ni nguvu.